Hello and welcome to Baldwin-Woodville High School in Baldwin, Wisconsin. Tonight we've got BW versus Ellsworth. Here we've got the JV game coming up in just a minute or so. My name is Jordan Lehman. I'm joined by Jeremy Nygaard and cameraman Zach Ambrose. How you doing, Nygaard?
I'm doing all right. It's nice to have a game this Friday night. Last week we were snowed out, so
Right.
good to be back in the gym.
Yeah, it's fun. It was too long of not watching high school basketball for me. It's fun to be back in the gym. I know these guys are hungry to get after it. Little update on the boys basketball program. They have not been here since, was it a Tuesday that they played at St. Croix Central?
I wasn't. Yeah, it was a Tuesday and I was not here.
So it's been over a week since they've been on this floor. They had a game at Amory, the varsity did, and took care of business at Amory, won by double digits there. Had some real nice showings by a few players, and so they're back in action tonight looking to get their first home win. But first, we've got a JV bout. So it looks like for Ellsworth we've got number 0. That is Caden Schomer. Number 30, Caden Graff. Number, let's see, 14, Lance Gipford, as he chases that one down. Number 1, Wyatt Blomberg, and number 32, Parker Woodland. And for the Hawks, number 10, Jackson Johansson, 23, Evan Clausen, 14, Reese Guthrie, 12, Ryan Vienendahl, and finally 20, Elijah Heimer. As Johansson off on the 3.
Now the first thing that I noticed has nothing to do with basketball, but Ellsworth's got 5 guys on the floor that all have some flow.
It's a movement, I think. I think in Ellsworth, it's either like a prerequisite to getting into the school, but I mean, if you watch them play football, which I hope anybody listening was able to this fall, there's always some salad hanging out of the back of those helmets, and it looks like they have just let it go into the basketball season.
Which is great.
And now, it's most important to consider, you know, Dallas Wallen may be the reigning, defending hair champ of this floor this year, but I think Ashton Quade might have him beat. I see him on the bench down there, and he's got a long, long ponytail.
Oh,
so.
he does. Well, and Ashton Quade, based on what he did in the fall, he can do whatever he wants.
Right. I mean,
I mean, he did. He did for a full season.
Yeah. It's a good bet to say that when he touches any, I mean, when he touches a football, basketball, whatever, he's going to score a touchdown. I think it's like a quarter of the time. So.
Is there a chance that he catches like an outlet pass today and forgets and just tucks it under, makes a guy miss, and just takes it to baseline for
right. Right.
Caden Graff here shooting free throws for the Panthers.
Panthers have a couple juniors, kind of a junior-led JV squad, which is never a bad thing. Hawks a little bit younger in their starting lineup, some sophomores, a freshman, and a couple juniors. Not sure how this JV team fared at Amory, but obviously it's exciting to see them back in action. We've got 16-minute halves for JV games.
I mean, Heimer's the guy with the flow for the Hawks.
Right.
Yeah, he's not even nothing. I think you're right. It's a movement.
Yeah.
And Prescott, I mean, they had some guys. You mentioned Wallen, but some JV guys too.
Right. Yeah, one of their better JV players. I can't remember his name, but he was the real good three-point shooter. That's a nice take there by 14, Lance Gipford. So it looks like we're going to have 5 in, 5 out for the Hawks. We've got a bunch of subs going to the table. We've got Mr. Tyler Hare, Maddox Mahoney. Good to see him back and healthy. We've got Ethan Ferndenzer, Tall Paul, Brody Paul, and Landon Feedy.
Kyle Kogan was the kid's name.
Yeah, it was.
Nev Lochterman in the house. Let's go.
It's good to see Nev. For those of you that maybe know Nev or have known Nev but haven't been around him in a basketball context, he's very, very, very knowledgeable basketball mind. It was fun coaching with him under Nygaard, Coach Nygaard. And he would say things and you'd be like, that's probably right.
And I don't think his heart rate ever...
No, never above 70.
No.
I mean, he's calm, cool, and collected. And that's, I mean, he kind of has to be when, you know, he graduated and played a lot of sports with some, you know, the Jeff Gasiliuses of the world where their heart rate never goes below 100.
Nev was a little bit older, though, than those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
And then Nev went and played some football at the University of River Falls.
Really nice jump stop and layup there.
Gipford.
Panthers up to a 7-2 early lead. During the JV game, sometimes we do get off topic, and that is kind of a nice move there by Ethan Fernandez. Good lower the shoulder, but we try to stay tuned into the game well enough. And then during varsity game, rest assured that we take it pretty seriously. So Hawks battling back, down by 3. Gifford's going to just hoist a 3. We're going to get a rebound by Ferndenzer.
Coach Ambrose did point out that we have the student sections flip-flopped.
We do.
He asked why, and I don't have an answer, but I do know that when I coached, before I coached, prior to me coaching, our students sat behind our bench.
Yeah.
Which is not how it's recommended.
It's not ideal from experience.
And then our band performed across from our bench, like under where the Prescott sign is.
Yeah.
And then when the band was done performing, they would walk in front of the whole, and the game would stop.
Yeah.
So when I took over, I made the recommendation: 1, student sections should be across from the players. That's that's a WIA recommendation. And also that the band be right next to the door. Hello, so we're not holding up the game. That's tough to do.
Tall Paul with a precise shot there that is stalled.
So is that considered a jump ball, or is that a held ball too, even though nobody's holding it? Can we get a?
This is where we need like our
resident expert, Nick Pack.
Blackhawk TV Global Network line out to Nick Pack. And it looks like Gifford's got the green light.
So we moved the student section across from us on the other side, and now Coach Benoit moved them back to the old spot, and now apparently we're slowly getting our student section back to where they should have been originally. It just took some time to get them there.
So the Hawks down 4-12. Mr. Lance Gifford, the juniors, had a real nice first half for the Panthers as he hit a 3 on their last possession. Curious if he was a football player. You can rest assured that, if you got a Paulson or eligible, you're probably playing football in Ellsworth from here on out.
Well, you're going out for football. But
yeah, for sure. Gifford will hoist again. That one's long and it'll ricochet out of bounds. 10:41 and counting in this first half.
So it looks like Gifford inherited the 14 jersey that Jack Janke vacated to go to number 4.
Oh, interesting. Good pick up, Maddox, Mahoney. Feedy from the baseline, no good. And Ferndenzer with the putback. Ellsworth more than willing to shoot the 3. That's another one that goes in for them. That's Caden Graff. And looks like Coach Ashland's going to continue with the 5-in, 5-out philosophy, popularized by Coach Calipari about 5 years ago at Kentucky. The season where they went 39-1 to the Wisconsin Badgers.
They seriously subbed that way? back then?
What's that?
That's what they did?
Yeah, they would go. Devin Booker would be their second point guard coming off the bench. He's pretty good at the sport. They would start Trey Lyles, Anthony Towns, the Harrisons, and Cauley Stein. And then they would bring up.
Didn't Eula start on that team?
He started on the year before. I'm not sure if he was still around. I mean, the Harrisons for sure started. That was a really special class at Kentucky.
But when it comes to undefeated teams in Kentucky, the state of Wisconsin, specifically the Badgers, have their number.
They do.
Oh,
that's a really nice take there by Jackson Johansson. And Gifford's going to take his time getting up.
Did you watch the Badger volleyball team play last night?
I did. That was a lot of fun. They, you know, I was watching with my dad, and we were talking about how unique it is to have, female athletes that tall.
Yeah.
For one, but to have athletes that tall and that athletic at the same time. You talk about like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. It's pretty unbelievable to have a 6'8" hitter that is able to rise up.
A five-time All-American and now the National Player of the Year too.
Yeah. You ever tried your hand at volleyball through the years? And any like leagues or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we played some sand volleyball back in my younger days at the Hilltop. And we always fared okay, and then we thought we were, I think, better than we actually were and signed up for like a tournament once. That was not. It didn't really go well.
Yeah. Ooh, good anticipation there by Johansson. This is probably when Tim Clapp mutes the mic.
Probably so.
But that's okay. That's okay.
In fairness, he probably muted the mic about 14 minutes ago.
Yeah, he probably hasn't had Blackhawk TV on with sound in a while. Ooh, another nice anticipation by Vienenball, but that one gets to Gifford. 3-point shot for Ellsworth once again, no good. In for Ellsworth, number 35, that's Logan Brand. He's a sophomore. And Jackson Johansson's off to the races. A little strong in the layup. Jackson played a lot of varsity football, started for the Blackhawks this fall as a sophomore, and played in one particular JV game near the end of the season. It might have been the only one he played in, and he was fun to watch. Nice anticipation once again as the Hawks come up with another steal, but no good on the layup, and their total stays at 6. But Jackson Johansson's got a motor. He has got a motor that does not stop.
So, when Jackson was a 4th grader, I had a number of students that were both good at math and super into football. Have I told you the story before? Noah Sarar, Colton Hush, like there was a group of them. And they were just kind of cutting their teeth on fantasy football.
Right.
So I introduced them to a little variation of the fantasy football. Daily fantasy sports.
Sure.
Which they did for fun, so they could do some math, so they'd print off the sheets, and they'd have to set themselves a lineup, and then they'd have to score their lineup at the end of the week. I think the last week of the season, one of the boys had entered a team that turned out to be the best team for the week.
Wow.
Yeah. Noah Sarar killed it.
Yeah, he's very astute. Math mind. Nosar, the center for the BW football team. He was an all-conference selection as a sophomore, which is pretty cool. Shout out to Noah.
Also did some filming for us when I was coaching.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of our manager.
He's got a great work ethic. He's a great teammate. As a sophomore, really stepped into a leadership role in that O-line. It was a lot of fun to coach him. Nice move there by Guthrie. Taking his time, being aggressive under the basket. Hawks down 9. Nice spin move and finish there by number 0. That's Caden Schomer. the year after I graduated, there was a Schomer for Ellsworth that was a really nice player. I don't remember his first name.
I don't have it for you.
That's all right. I mean, if number 0 and number 1 are walking down the hall,
you assume they're twin brothers.
I mean, it's.
And it's the Blombergs or Bloomberg. I would assume Blomberg. 1 and 11 are listed next to each other. So when I saw 0 and 1 and then looked at I'm like, oh, those are those two. Nope.
Right.
Program playing tricks on me.
And I think there was a. Well, I'm not sure. Just let that thought rest. Hawks down 11. Looking to get some offensive production. Nice take there by Veenendahl. Long on the layup. So the Hawks getting some decent looks with some aggressive takes to the rack.
Ooh. Maybe a violation there.
Maybe.
What I call.
But nothing falling under the basket so far.
So we're not wearing masks this year on the floor. But given the recent developments in our major professional sports, do you think there's a possibility that happens again?
I don't believe it will happen. I think there's a lot of logistics that would have to fall in line. However, nothing is impossible. So I don't know. I don't anticipate it to happen, but I do not know. I do not know. Elijah Heimer, good on the first.
If you flip through Twitter and it's like,
yeah,
oh, this team has 27 players out.
Right. Yep.
Three NFL games got moved this weekend.
Why are there Saturday games? Is that a holiday thing?
No, once the college season is over,
I see.
The NFL's like, hey,
yeah, one more day.
Let's make money.
There was a week last year during the COVID developments where there was it every major sport played a game in a single week.
Yeah, in a single day, same day.
In a single day. Yeah. Awesome. The best.
First day in the history of baseball, football, basketball, hockey.
So this has nothing to do with basketball, but that's okay. With the player meetings, well, I don't know if it's just player meetings, but for the MLB right now, is there any talk of this length of the season or the way that the season is formatted, or is it
with the lockout happening?
Yeah.
Like, you mean like as
has there really been contention with the 162 format, or is that not?
No, that's not even a thing.
Gotcha.
It kind of had been at one point that they talked about shortening it, but now kind of the concession is let more teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
More money made, more money to the players. That's a turnover. But they're not even expected to negotiate until the middle of January.
Right.
Which, I mean, as you're a Brewers fan, it saves you from the misery of them.
Yeah, underperforming. Well, it's not even underperforming in the sense of like a rational mind. I think probably knows that the Brewers are like their ceiling is currently at the NLCS with Yelich as is. If he were to be a 320 hitter with over 100 RBIs and 30 dingers again, that would maybe change just because the pitching for the Brewers has really developed. But yeah, it's Milwaukee sports have throughout my life gradually and significantly improved, but the Brewers, it gets a little old. It does. I remember one time I think it was after my freshman year of college, I was staying in Eau Claire and I watched more Brewers games that summer than ever, and that was the year they had it was an unbelievable lead in the NL Central at the All-Star break. There's almost 15 games, and I proceeded to watch them for the next 3 months.
There you go, Ethan Ferndenzer.
Bang! 3-pointer for Ferndenzer. proceeded to watch him for the next 3 months lose that lead and lose the division to the Cardinals by like 10 to 15 games. It was quite the catastrophic
collapse.
Yeah. And then Jackson Johansson will find that one. Hawks making a run of it. And one fun thing watching this JV team, you know, sometimes it's nice shot there by Ferndenser, clapping down the court.
In the NBA Jam world, you know what they'd be saying right now?
What?
He's heating up.
He's heating up. Yeah. But no, watching this JV, they like to get up and run.
Absolutely.
They like to get the ball and go. And that's something that, you know, even when it's maybe not intentionally part of the format of an offense, when you got a group of players that wants to go, that'll happen, right?
Well, it's fun.
So much fun.
And then when you're older, like you're getting an IM, you try to do it, and then you just don't. Or in my case, you don't try anymore.
Well, you try for 2 possessions, and then the 3rd possession you're on the sideline.
We actually, and we haven't played in the alumni tournament officially in a number of years, but our team was always pretty good. And we were, I would guess, one of the more high-scoring teams that we had in the school. And the last game that we played as a group, I think we lost like 35 to 34. Like we would just take the air out of the ball as much as we could, and we'd still guard. Made it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I remember watching those as a student. I loved the alumni tournament because I don't know. I just get a kick out of the history and seeing old.
And it's amazing how quickly it goes away.
Yeah.
Like
one thing that I've played a lot of basketball in my life, and you know I've enjoyed playing it lately. You know, as a young adult, and the paramount lesson I've learned is how hard basketball is.
Oh yeah.
And you forget it not because you were so much better as a youth, but because you played it all the time, and how frequently you practiced was intentional. You need to practice every day. Right? It is a like when you watch the NBA and you have the context of actually playing the sport actively, it's so much more fun because you're like, that is impossible.
Right.
What they're doing is unbelievable. We watched Donovan Mitchell the other night playing against the Timberwolves get to the rim at will.
Right. Whenever he wanted, and then finish. And that's what's crazy. It's like these are the most gifted athletes in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Getting past people and getting uncontested looks at the hoop. When you take random high schools, and it's hard for kids. I mean, it's hard for me. It's less hard for Cam Thompson and Jack Jenke.
Yeah.
But
no,
yeah,
for sure.
And the court's not bigger.
Right.
And the players are so much bigger.
Yeah. No, that's what it's my, you know, arguably my favorite sport to watch, and I really like to play it as well, just because it's so, there's such a learning curve, but when it's good, it's really fun to watch. I mean, you watch your guy Ant-Man Anthony Edwards hit 10 threes and also be most likely the most athletic 20-year-old you know, in the league. It's just crazy.
He's out tonight.
What was his ding? What's going on?
COVID protocols.
Yeah.
Nationally televised home game against the Lakers starts at 9 p.m. local time.
Saw that. Yeah, the Bucks beat the Pacers the other night with, I mean, Budenholzer almost had to suit up. It was quite the lineup.
I feel like he wouldn't have a lot in him.
No. For those Bucks fans listening, I think Jordan Nwora is going to be a real nice player. It was fun watching him in a more prolific scoring role, and he's a 3-level scorer. He's a lot of fun. He's got a lot of hair, but he's a lot of fun.
Where'd he come from?
It's a good question. He's a second-year guy. It's the Hawks within 5 at one point. It was a double-digit lead for the Panthers, but the Hawks, their stingy defense, as we see there, and some more consistent shooting. It's a nice defensive rebound by Ferndenser. We got under 2 minutes. Hawks looking to press.
Oh, good pass.
Good look.
Post.
Good finish, and that's an and one. Opportunity for Reese Guthrie, and one opportunities at Blackhawk TV are brought to you by Packman's Concrete. You You can talk to Nick Pack at Packman's Concrete for all your concrete needs. You can get a hold of him at the number 612-804-5222 and packmansconcrete@gmail.com.
That's a great segue into thanking all of our sponsors here at Blackhawk TV. Firehelm Langer, Timmerman Realty, St. Croix Garage Doors, Wisconsin Credit Union, CW Garage Door Distribution, Nielsen's Foods, Strikers Lanes and Sports Bar, Flagship Ford, A-Star Concrete, Precision Excavating Enterprises, Precision Truck Services, American Family Insurance, Justin Nygaard Agency, Schaefer Financial Services, Blackhawk Garage Door, Anytime Fitness, The Forge Chiropractic, Pete's Construction, Baldwin Lightstream, Auto Appeal, O'Connell Funeral Homes, Fenner and Jewelers, First Bank of Baldwin, Charlotte Heimer with Aflac Insurance, Christo Orthodontics, TMS Auto, and Village Pharmacy. Thank you, sponsors.
A Louisville Cardinal, Jordan Noir was. Graduated went to the league in 2020. Did you see Trent Dilfer's daughter?
Yeah.
Was a Louisville Cardinal last night. The Badgers in Louisville in the Final Four of the volleyball tournament.
Trent Dilfer? His daughter, yeah. Yeah, she was the setter, I believe.
I would bet if you're playing catch, it's a spiral.
Oh, yeah.
I would bet. So Guthrie looking to finish the end one to bring the Hawks within 2 for the old-fashioned three-point play.
Do you ever think the high school three-point line will get moved back?
Yes. It'll 100% get moved back in my lifetime, absolutely. I mean,
your lifetime, that's a long time away, and I think rules will probably significantly.
Well,
do you think
but really though, in the last 50 years, the rules of basketball fundamentally haven't changed a lot. I think there's things that obviously the three-point line would have been added, but yeah, because what happens is when kids are introduced to the game of basketball, it's through usually obviously a parent or a family member and then the television. And what every kid wants to do right now is shoot threes.
Right.
And so that means that some of them most of them probably won't be to the level of, a high-level three-point shooter, but a lot more of them will be. And so I just think it's a part of. I think it's basketball being such a fluid, flexible sport where the game has changed so much in the last 5 years, let alone 10, 20. I think it'll take. I don't know if it's going to be 6 inches. I don't know if it'll be 4 inches, but I'm more curious about the shot clock development. If that is going to be something that states can hold on permanently, or if that's an inevitability. I don't.
Minnesota's adding it.
Right, exactly.
I think the season after next. And for me, it was asked in the Coaches Association when I coached. I think it was just a survey that was sent out. Would you favor the implementation of I believe it was a 40-second shot clock, 45
sure.
seconds. It's what the NCAA used to have
way back in the day.
And I said, absolutely. But the reason to...
Good look by Heimer. Ooh.
The reason there's people that are opposed to it is it's going to... Oh, yeah, don't do that. It's going to force teams to have more possessions, which coaches that like to think that they can, really influence the outcome of the game, they would say that the less talented team has less of a chance to ever pull an upset if there's a shot clock.
Sure.
And that's not completely wrong. But I just think when you look at all things basketball, college follows the NBA. High school follows college.
Right. And I don't think,
You got 2 seconds, you better fire it up.
Guthrie into the rafters.
He wants a
call.
He wants a foul.
Hawks down 5 at the break. We're going to have between a 5 and a 10-minute halftime. It varies, but we'll be back in a little bit here to cover the second half. 16-minute halves once again for JV. Hawks down 5, 17-22.
We'll be back shortly.
Welcome back. Blackhawk TV with the second half of the JV game between BW and Ellsworth here in about 20 seconds. Halftime score, BW 17, Ellsworth 22.
There goes our varsity.
Yeah. They're gonna
Keegan with the nice white, bright shoes.
Yep, got the Blazers. Looks like they're fresh.
Colin rocking some Crocs.
And the Oscar Robertson jersey, which I love. We've talked about that many times. I think I've offered him different price points. It's always been a no.
Colin's got a number of jerseys.
All of them awesome. He's got good taste.
Jerseys are the best.
They're the best. I wish I had all of them. When they're
Tell me.
Well, when it makes sense, I think every up and coming cool player will just be an instant, and the NBA will just be an instant buy.
So you gotta get John Morant because he's the coolest.
John Morant, Paulo Banchero is gonna be great. A Holmgren, a Suggs. I hope Suggs can get back. I hope Beckers can get back. What a tough time for both of those.
Beckers is the best.
And how about UConn actually taking a little bit of a dip? Usually it's like a next man up or next woman up. You know.
Did you hear Ariema after she got hurt, where he's like, they're like, why was she in the game? He's like, I don't like my team when she's not in the game. And then he goes, she misses time. I'm gonna be forced to like this team.
Quick two by Guthrie. Hawks within 3. Yeah. Beckers and Suggs, high school friends. I don't know how far away Hopkins and Minnehaha high schools are, but they went to the Curry camp together. They've come up, had a lot of success together.
Is this where you want to tell the story of us being basically honorary Suggs family members?
Well, I mean, we a couple years ago, Sierra Canyon out of LA had a high school team with Bronny James, which is LeBron James's son, oldest son, and pros BJ Boston, Zaire Williams, and future pros, a future pro Marley Bailey. And so
there we go.
They went on the road and played probably the toughest high school basketball schedule that's ever been put together. And part of that was coming to Minneapolis and playing Minnehaha Academy, which at that time had Jalen Suggs, Chet Holmgren. Help me with some of the other names.
Hersey and Mercy Miller.
Hersey and Mercy Miller.
Then they had 2 Big Ten football players.
Right. Nice left-handed layup there by Clausen. So the Hawks up but one, 23-22. Here we go.
And the game was originally supposed to be Minnehaha Academy.
Right. And
2,000 tickets.
Yeah.
We had 2 of those 2,000 tickets.
Exactly.
But then they moved it to the Target Center. Sold that puppy out.
Yeah, it was arguably the most people that were at the Target Center that year, calendar year. And so, you know, me and Nygaard decide we might as well get there early, see what's going on, and we arrive second earliest to 2 young men that were about middle school aged, and so with nothing else to do, we struck up a conversation. And I think it was maybe a 7th grader and a 5th grader, something around those ages. They just kind of nonchalantly inform us, because we're talking about, where they're from, what they're doing, who they know, and they're like, yeah, we know Jalen.
Well, you flat out said, do you guys know Jalen Suggs? And the older kid said, yeah, Jalen's a bum.
Jalen's a bum, he goes. So he's talking smack with Jalen Suggs, and we're like, okay. And I don't know if you inquired more, but we end up finding out that these 2 kids get daily.
Jackson Johansson holding up the 3.
And we got
a
timeout Ellsworth.
Hawks up 4.
Hawks on a 9-0 run out of the half, 9-0 run out of the half. But anyways, we end up finding out these kids get daily drives to school.
Yes.
From now 1st-round draft pick professional basketball player Jalen Suggs, and so they're just like nonchalantly talking about Jalen, and one of them, the one who called him a bum's like, yeah, he's bad at 2K. He's not good. Like he's just talking smack. It's so funny.
And I said to him, you got to have him sign
everything.
And he goes, why would I want him to write his name on my stuff?
This is great. It was so funny. It was surreal, and it became more surreal as more and more people accumulated. And those kids, their
mom showed up.
Mom shows up, and it's kind of the Suggs clan. So Larry Suggs,
Big
who
Lair,
is
Big Lair.
Brothers with Terrell Suggs? Cousins with Terrell Suggs, the former All-Pro linebacker
for the Ravens.
So Big Lair, as they call him, shows up, and he's big, as is pretty much everybody involved with the Suggs family. Everybody's tall and strong-looking, athletic. I mean, it was just hilarious, and so we were rubbing shoulders with.
Well, the mom with the kid showed up. And started talking to us, and then she starts pointing out to us who everybody is.
Yeah.
Which was neat to see. And then it's like, oh, those are Jalen's sisters, as they're tick-tocking in the middle of this super packed corridor.
Yeah.
And they're dancing and doing their thing.
And naturally, the Suggs, everybody had to kind of wait in line, the line that we were in, even the people with the original 2,000 tickets. And naturally, they were escorted kind of to a different entrance, and they, I'm sure, were. Given some privileges, but that comes along with, being friends and relatives of Jalen Suggs. He was the what was he?
4.
Number 4 overall pick last year in the NBA draft, and
And we should mention, because I'm reminded by my wife, that we didn't get tickets to that game because we knew anybody.
Correct.
We got tickets to that game because my wife knew somebody.
Well, it was funny. I mean, we were obviously coaching at the time, and I came over to your office at the school to talk ball, and I just go, the hottest ticket in high school sports maybe ever right now is going to be at the Target Center, and you're like, what's that about? And I was like, well, Bronny James and company are going to come, because I love following kind of the prep sports, kind of the higher level prep sports, and it was so much fun. And Minnehaha showed out, man. They balled out.
Yeah, Suggs hit his head hard right away. Remember that? We're like,
yeah.
Oh, he's out.
Yeah. And
my favorite part, or maybe the most memorable part, is there is because basically we get in and it's just GA. So we picked center court, halfway up, like really good seats.
Yep.
Good take, Evan.
Good take, Clausen.
And this bigger gentleman sitting behind us was very loud.
Yeah.
And he was shouting instructions at Prince Alegbe.
Mm-hmm.
He was another guy on that team. And so he would yell, and not often nice words. And then one time, one of the Sierra Cats travel. One of the Sierra Canyon players did something cool, and you were compelled to stand up and clap.
Yeah.
And then you were grabbed and told to sit down, West Coast.
Yes. Yeah, I had a denim jacket on, a Giannis jersey. And yeah, he called me West Coast, and I turned around and gladly sat down once I understood who he was. And then you come to find out, we actually talked to the guy throughout the game. He was the AAU coach of Jalen Suggs and Chet Holmgren's AAU team.
Yeah, I think he was probably more important. He was their coach, but I think he's also like the lead dude at Grassroots Sizzle.
Yep.
So he was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, more important than us, but it was really cool.
And then after you almost get sat down by Mr. Grassroots himself, we go to Buffalo Wild Wings post game. Do you recall this?
Yeah.
And it's Patriots collapsing against the Titans. Tom Brady's over, and he throws that interception pick 6 at the end, and I don't know, clapped or.
Yeah.
And dude at the bar turns around and like he wanted to fight me.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, TB12, he's got quite a spread, but quite a reach.
Yeah, did you hear about his new product line for the NIL? He's going to be signing college athletes.
They signed Deion Sanders' kid.
Yeah, Jackson State. Get the Jackson State merch while you can. I love it.
It's going to be interesting.
Hopefully it's regulated, but I do love it.
It's going to be interesting because I think Travis Hunter is the kid's name. Number 2 prospect in America, signed with Jackson State instead of Florida State.
Yep.
Ultimately, you want to get first-round money, and I'm not sure that a corner who's challenged by receivers in the SWAC or whatever that division is.
Yeah.
is really gonna. I mean, teams just won't throw at him.
Right.
So he's betting on himself for sure. But
and to borrow a take by Nick Wright, there's going to be people that freak out about this, as there always are. But what's going to happen, whether it's regulated well or not, is there's going to be some bigger schools that maybe have some bigger boosters because they've been very successful, that are going to be able to get some of the 5-star recruits to schools like the Ohio States, Alabama, LSU's. And that changes nothing.
Right.
Because that's the way it always has been. These bigger schools with most likely nicer facilities, better coaches, better programs, get the better players, and naturally they're going to have a little bit more money. And obviously there's going to be nuances. The Jackson State thing, very interesting.
Right.
But Florida State didn't do themselves any favors by not being good for the better part of the last decade.
Correct.
So, I don't think that there's a good argument anymore that these players should not get paid. I think that would be negligent at this point with how much money they produce for schools.
Yeah.
And obviously they've been getting paid for a long time under the table, and that's not
right.
That's neither here nor there. But
the only issue that I have, it's not with players getting paid. It's not with players having
good move, Tall Paul.
Free agent portal called the transfer portal. What bothers me is when the $8 million a year head coaches who gladly bail on their team for more money and recruit over guys from the day that you commit.
Yeah.
Go public and talk about how players shouldn't be paid and how they shouldn't be able to transfer.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Like, those guys can just shut their mouths.
Yeah, the double standard is. Well, I mean, we're seeing with the Urban Meyer situation, we're seeing some of the intricacies of coaching at different levels come to light, and some of the things that nice hands by Tall Paul. We got no call. We got a timeout call.
It's a good timeout call.
Hawks up 2, 10:04 to go. But it's been interesting to see the differences come to light, and it's not. I mean, Urban Meyer's not the first college coach to come to the pros and not have a great time.
In fact, he's what everybody else has. There's rarely a college coach.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few, but not common. And the Colts coach. The Colts coach was originally a college coach, not a crazy high-level coach, but can't think of his name.
Frank Reich?
Yep, he coached in the college, and he actually just was on the Pat McAfee show talking about how when he came from college, from coaching collegiately to coaching in the pros, he kind of took the opposite approach as some of these coaches take, and he learned a lot from the players, and he kind of took a lot of information from them on how things go, because the men's league is called, the NFL being called the men's league is because you're coaching grown men with families. And, he wasn't the head coach, so I'm not saying that he,
And Frank Reich was a successful NFL quarterback.
Sure.
Urban Meyer, Bobby Petrino,
Nick Saban,
Matt Rule, these guys were not standalone NFL players.
Right.
Like, Bobby Petrino set a pretty low bar to have to clear to not be the worst example of coming. He bailed in the middle of the night.
He might still have it.
Urban Meyer's way worse, and I thought Urban Meyer would be great.
Yeah, I didn't know. I always like to be optimistic. I think that great coaches being great is great for sports at all levels, so I always hope for the best, but he's not a beacon of an example, and
I didn't like him at Ohio State, but mostly because I hated Ohio State beating the Badgers.
Yeah.
If he would have been the head coach of Wisconsin, beat everybody.
I was listening to a Rich Eisen take today, and Rich Eisen's a Michigan guy, and he's like, this is by far the best 2 weeks of my life.
That was yesterday. I was talking to Rappaport, right?
Yeah. Michigan beats Ohio State after forever, and then Urban Meyer crashed and burns. I don't know where I stand on him reemerging. I think that people are overreacting to him never being able to coach at any level again. I think that Nick Saban, Dante Culpepper had to be restrained from fighting him at Miami. So, there's been animosity and contention before. The issue is, though, was Instagram around, right? Was Facebook what it is?
Right.
Exactly. So social media changes things. So
Urban Meyer wouldn't be in the hot water that he's in if pictures from Columbus don't surface.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or if he's 10-3.
Well, That's true, but he wasn't going to be 10-3 with that team.
No.
And I like that team.
Yeah. No, it's Trevor Lawrence. It's always been easy to root for him, even when he was, at the perennial powerhouse Clemson. And I hope he does really well. Obviously, the young quarterbacks being what they are, you see Justin Herbert last night almost do the thing, and Pat Mahomes is just Pat Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. But you hope that Trevor Lawrence can turn the page with the Jags and bring them to prominence.
We're all square here now. 8.5 minutes left. Who would you call the best young quarterback in the NFL?
So is Pat Mahomes young?
No. I mean, he is, but he's not for this exercise.
So there's a couple ways to look at it. I think the most talented young quarterback, by evidence in the pros, is Justin Herbert.
Yeah, me too.
I think that the best situation might be Mac Jones with a reinvigorated Bill Belichick. I really do.
Yeah.
Like watching the man in the arena stuff with Tom Brady.
Can't do that.
I mean, Bill Belichick has his fans and he has his not, people that don't like him as much. He's brilliant. And what he did with Tom was orchestrated brilliantly. His philosophy was, we're going to let you do what you prove you can do. And he held Tom to that standard, and as Tom progressed, they went from a run-first defensive team that won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls to a team with Randy Moss where it was just, oh, where's Randy?
Right.
And I think Mac Jones is in a really good position there.
So, I mean, obviously, being in this part of the nation, people want to see the Packers make it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
There's no better storyline than Patriots-Bucks Super Bowl.
It would be. And I'm one of those Packer fans, but you're not wrong. Nice take. Nice give and go there, rather, by Elijah and Guthrie as the Hawks looking to get back to even. We have tangent would be, I don't even know if that's the word for what we've been talking about, but Elijah Heimer looking to tie things up with 2 free throws here.
There's nothing wrong about talking about sports.
Nope, there's not. Looks like we've got a student section with maybe the hick theme tonight. See a lot of flannel and overalls.
This hick theme.
And
I can proudly say, if Maren wanted to look like a hick, she ain't gonna do it looking in my closet.
So the last 2 home games for the Hawks, they're only 2 home games, have been really well attended, which is a lot of fun. Hopefully tonight, being it Friday, get another pretty close to packed house. Hawks looking to get on the varsity level, that is. Elijah Heimer anticipates that pass. He's going to go. Johansson to Feedy. Into Guthrie for 2. And he's going to go to the free throw line.
I'm gonna throw this out here, and you can do what you want with it. But it's like a soft serve over the net.
Right.
I think Elijah Heimer would be an awesome hybrid fullback tight end.
You're right.
That's what he should play next year.
Well, that was a soft serve that I drilled into the corner, in the sense that we'll leave that to next fall. But yeah, he's a freak. He's a very good athlete. Freak athlete. The Heimers, all of them, really good athletes. Yeah, coaching Elijah is fun. He's one of those players where you're like, you demonstrate the skill or the technique, and then he goes in and does it perfectly, and you're like, okay, we're done. Good.
I think, and I'm not gonna make any. Oh,
good take by Evan Clausen. I love that going in, because we've seen him take it to the rack like that from the baseline, and they haven't gone in as much as he'd like, and that's a really nice take. And one opportunity presented by Packman's Concrete. You can talk to Nick Pack at Packman's Concrete for all your concrete needs at 612-804-5222 and packmansconcrete@gmail.com. But back to Evan, because he works extremely hard on the game of basketball, as the and one's not going to come through. and he's got so much natural ability. He's a lefty. He's long. He's athletic. Seeing him make that come together was a lot of fun.
He finished at 10 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a guy that by the end of his career will have multiple one-handed, two-handed flushes.
And what he just did there might end up in a dunk, which would be great.
Oh.
Dunking traffic over people.
I can only hope that I'm calling the games then, because that'll be, yeah.
It's going to be awkward, though, when you stand up and flex on the wall when he does that.
Not as awkward as two-year point guard DJ flexing at the Bears, but that's water under the bridge. DJ's a good guy.
I still talk to him about that. I'm like, what do you think? He's like, I don't know, I wasn't.
Yeah, and he, to his credit, was having an unbelievable first half against crosstown rival St. Croix Central. Against his best friend Peyton Ogle.
Peyton's not playing basketball anymore.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah, Peyton Ogle was a part of the St. Croix Central team that knocked off Prescott in the regional finals at Prescott a couple years ago. Peyton was a phenomenal player. It was fun getting to know him through DJ a little bit last couple years. Good defense there by Clausen. And I think, you know, Nogle's senior year, that team, that Central team was, by the end of the season, they were tough. They were a tough group.
I'm trying to think of how that ended for him. Is that the year they beat Prescott?
Yep.
We beat them twice.
Yep.
They beat Prescott. Central went to Northwestern, got road smoked. Northwestern went to state, played.
Oh yeah, Martin Luther, was it?
And got the break.
It was hilarious. Yeah. Poor Northwestern.
It's just a different level of basketball.
So down a rabbit hole yesterday, looking at the size of Northwestern School District, like the technical district. It's so big. It's like a 20th of the state.
Yeah.
It's humongous. I counted 11 towns, and obviously some of them extremely small, but.
Well, I mean, it's called Northwestern for a reason. It's literally Northwestern.
It's the Northwest Wisconsin All-Star team, which is, I mean, hey, do your thing. I'm not saying it's not fair.
We used to play them every year in football, every single year. And Coach Levesque would tell us, like, you guys gotta lift weights. You gotta work hard. Northwestern's always strong. And he's like, there's only two things to do up in that area: throw trees and drink beer.
Yeah.
But how their facility now, I would put that up with any facility in the state of Wisconsin.
Absolutely. They've got a double-decker weight room. They've got a football stadium that were you at the game, the playoff game 3 years ago?
Yeah. I was doing stats. A lot of yards for Northwestern.
The intro that the Northwestern football team had, where they walk down together, it's dark. Like the field is illuminated, but it's dark around it because it's just forest and like danger.
Right.
And then they've got this song that comes on, and like a siren, and you're with their players watching, and you're just like,
it's not a travel.
Yeah, Northwestern's a cool place to play. Ellsworth's pulled away here. Coach Ashland's going to get a break for the boys. Looks like it's going to be a full timeout, down 6. 4:24 to play in the second half of this JV bout. After the JV game concludes, we're going to take a little bit of a break at Blackhawk TV and rejoin, a handful of minutes before the varsity game to talk high school, or kind of preview the varsity game rather.
And it'll be on a different stream.
Right.
So you'll have to leave this stream and then join the varsity stream. Like to keep the game separate. We didn't do that at Central just because I wasn't here and I didn't want to task Ambrose with another thing.
And if you're one of the 1% that finds what we're talking about entertaining, you can find Jeremy Nygaard and I talking about basketball-specific things, middle border-specific basketball, in the Baseline to Baseline podcast. That's on Blackhawk TV's YouTube channel. We have a couple of them under the Western Wisconsin Sports Podcast title, previewing the season for both boys and girls, and then the last one, our first official episode of Baseline to Baseline, we talk about the state of the middle border boys and girls hoops a couple weeks into the season as things take shape. So if you're a fan of high school sports, if you're a fan of high school ball, especially in this area, I think you'll enjoy that. If you can tolerate our banter.
When do you want to do another one of those?
I was thinking early next week.
So here's the thing. Girls have games Monday, Tuesday. Girls are in Durand Monday.
Sure.
We host Boyceville Tuesday. So Wednesday might be a thing. Thursday, I believe, there's an afternoon boys game.
Yeah.
That's the 23rd, so maybe we should plan on the night of the 22nd.
Sure. Nice hands there by Clausen. Look at the freshman come to life in this second half.
Get it. So my other question for you. Oh, that's short. Do you ever foresee, and maybe it won't happen in the NBA first, because the ABA is where the three-point line originated, right? Do you ever foresee a time where there's like a four-point line?
That's a really good question. I wonder how. Well,
I mean, there was a time there wasn't a three-point line.
Right. And for people that don't believe it, it was when it was a nice finish there by 12 from Ellsworth. That's Lucas Kirchner. But I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is that's crazy, right? Just because it does sound crazy. But at one point, the three-point line sounded crazy.
Correct.
Would you, first of all, first question for you, math guy. If it was done, at what efficiency would you need a player to be shooting the? Let's say it's
level?
2 feet. Let's say it's 2. And here's another question though, because with the court diameter, how tight to that corner do you get?
Oh, it wouldn't be in the corner. It would just be like a.
So the corner, okay.
You know, it'd be like coach's box.
I see.
Hash mark to coach's, across,
Sure.
but at an arc. So maybe it's 28 feet or 29 feet or 32 feet or whatever.
Right. So, but back to the original point, at what efficiency do you need? Let's say that you're coaching with, a good friend of yours, Nick Johnson, at Ripon College after their coach retires and goes to the Hall of Fame, and you've got, the second coming of Ticats, and he's hitting threes like crazy, and they put in the 4-point line, and he starts to shoot 4-point shots, and they're going in every fourth shot.
Okay. What's he shooting at this 3-point percentage?
He's shooting. He's a very good. He's a 41% 3-point shooter.
So he's shooting 41% from three. So 1.2 points per 3-point attempt.
Right.
So he's got to shoot 30% from 4.
Sure.
To make it make sense. A little over 30.
How fun would it be though for the I don't know. I'm a fan of entertainment, and it would be entertaining by default. I don't know. I feel like they should trial it. I mean, if they want to.
Like it should be a G League thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe it's spots.
Right.
Like maybe there's a right side spot or a left side. I would think a left side because you probably see you go right more, so you probably pull up. So if it's on the left side, it would be kind of a disadvantage. But if it's on the left side of each side, and you got to have both feet inside the circle.
Right.
It's kind of gimmicky.
It is.
So was the 3-point line.
Yeah. It's fun to think about. Fun to talk about. All right. Hawks down 4. We've got just under 3 minutes to play here. Good defense there by Mahoney as he hustles to the ball, but Caden Graff will come up with it for the Panthers. Another tight JV matchup on this floor between the Panthers and the Hawks. Real nice job there by Jackson Johansson. He braces for the charge. He gets it.
And then he stands up and tells everybody, we're going this way. Love it.
Jackson is so fun to coach. Fun kid to be around. I love Clausen in the point guard role. I hope he continues that. Good look underneath. That's going to be 2.
And we're down to 2 points.
We've got 2:20 to play. 2-point lead for the Panthers. Noticeably absent this second half. probably for good reason, is Mr. Gipford, who had a really nice first half for them, the junior. But
this is when Coach Ashland comes out and fully energized.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I told you, my first year of college, I actually was the JV assistant.
Yeah, you told me about that. Yeah.
So I got to listen to all the things that Coach Ashland had to say.
I mean, you were a JV assistant. You were player diplomat. I mean, you had really good relationships with.
Well,
obviously, some of the. I mean, Nate, you've talked to me about your relationship with Nate Borowitz, and who's an awesome dude. It's been fun meeting him through you.
I mean, the juniors were freshmen when I was a senior. The seniors obviously were sophomores, so we didn't have any sophomores play my senior year. So none of those, I didn't play with any of them. But I mean, a lot of younger brothers. My brother was on that team, and obviously Nate's older brother was an all-conference post player. But yeah, that was a fun year, and you know where it ended? Just like every other year.
At Altoona?
At Altoona.
I did not see that.
So here's the thing that gets me sometimes, and I wasn't watching that real close, but if you're dribbling the ball continually, you cannot travel.
Correct.
You could carry, you know, there could be violations of the ball, but you can't travel.
That's true.
And you see it called because if you move your feet really quick and the ball, there's a hesitation with the ball, and I think the default is just to call the travel.
Right.
Call the carry, and people aren't going to wonder what you're doing. Oh, Maddox.
Oh, what good effort there by Max Mahoney. More.
Oh, and then Jackson comes in.
More good effort.
And he gets called for the foul.
Oh, man.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
That was amazing.
What Jordan Lehman's going to do later tonight, maybe tomorrow, is he is going to clip that Maddox to Ethan Ferndenzer with the soccer save, because that's, you know, his thing, being a goalie. And then
funny.
Jackson coming in and laying the hit stick.
Yeah.
That's like joystick or whatever the what do you
Yeah, hit stick.
So he's gonna put that on Instagram.
That's funny. Good rebound by Mahoney. So the Hawks got a minute to get 2 or 3.
Oh, he's out of bounds.
And a turnover there.
So the intercepted. Oh, what are we doing even?
We've got another turnover and another turnover.
Coach Ashland not happy.
I love watching Hunter Clausen watch this. Evan's older brother, he just has not moved the whole time. He's just like, well.
This.
Well, it's impossible to call is what it is, first and foremost.
Just watch and enjoy. This is like the old Pac-12 After Dark when it's just.
Finished by. Let's go,
yes,
he says.
Yes.
Let's go. We've got 30 seconds and counting. Can the Hawks do it? They came back. They were down by double digits in the first half. Can they come all the way back? We've got another one going down to the wire here in the West Gym at BWHS.
Oh, he's taking the
Tough
charge.
take.
It's a no call.
No call. The whistles are swallowed. We've got 11 seconds. Elijah Heimer coast to coast. He's going to dish it to Jackson Johansson for 3. Need it. Oh, no good.
Oh.
And we're going to have 2.5 seconds for Ellsworth with a tie game.
I'm gonna need you to do something for me. I'm gonna need you to diagram a play that Ellsworth could run.
You're not very nice.
To go the length of the court.
Well, you could hypothetically just send everybody across the half-court line and throw it as hard as you could to a corner, and then proceed to catch it in the corner, do a 360, and throw it at the hoop and make it. And actually, that young man is in the corner right now over there with the long hair, nearest to us. He made that shot.
Ashton Quaddy made that shot?
No, not Ashton Quaddy, the guy with kind of the mop with the Nike headband.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, he'll never forget that, and neither will I. As Sam Hush hit a game-winning 3, or so I thought, and they proceeded to, in about a minute or a second and a half, throw it full court, turn around in the corner and make it to win, and that was not fun. But
on an unrelated note, the last time I saw a grown man cry was right after that shot went in.
Yeah, I mean, I could have.
So Coach Ashland's famous lines, whenever his team would lose by just a couple points.
You have to add this one?
Gosh. No, this.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like he would always just shake his head and go, that's just bad coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You get 2 dribbles. You got one.
Pretty good luck from three-quarter. Oh, no good. And we will have overtime here at BWHS in this JV matchup. Looks like we'll have maybe a 4-minute period.
Free basketball.
Free basketball. Extra time, as they call it in soccer, American football, or European football. So we got 42-42. We're going to have a minute break for the kids to catch their breath. And Coach Peterson and Coach Benoit will hold off on their varsity squads hitting the court.
Yeah, that last minute was
awesome. You know, if you ever wonder if coaching high school sports or coaching would be fun, the reason it always is because that kind of stuff happens maybe once in every, couple 10 games, right?
Right.
But also happens pretty much every day at practice. So if you let it, right? And that's the beauty of it, is these kids just want to play, man. They just want to get after it and compete.
I thought you were going to say that's the downside of coaching, because you prepare for all of these situations, and then that happens.
in the most crucial aspect of the game, part of the game.
You had Ellsworth throwing in those passes, and then we just didn't find.
I think like 4 or 5 consecutive players that touched the ball made an unforced turnover. It was quite.
It's like the ball all of a sudden was really hot. Nobody wanted to touch it.
Yeah.
That's a foul.
Ooh, we've got some.
We're chippy now.
Yep, Ellsworth going back to their football ways here in the early going overtime. We're going to have 4 minutes, and the Hawks will work it around. Nice look underneath of Mahoney in the flex offense, the little flex, the little, cross screen there coming across the lane for 2. Three-point attempt.
Touches all the
just
parts
out. Nice offensive rebound there, and we're going to get another 3-point attempt for the Panthers, and that will also rattle out. And a double dribble.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know if he dribbled it twice. I mean, usually the missed call on the double dribble is when a player tries to gather the ball from a pass or a rebound and it dribbles, which is not a dribble. Elijah Heimer, I love his confidence right now.
Yeah, I mean, he was going for the early dagger.
Yep. So the Hawks up 2 early in this overtime period. Every possession valuable.
Oh, just don't come down, and that's a sweet block.
Yep. So the Hawks will.
See, that's what Coach Ash is telling his guys. Like, just go vertical.
Speaking of the Sierra Canyon Minnehaha game, we watched Chet Holmgren, who is maybe the longest, post defender in the history of the sport, block, pretty much shut down Sierra Canyon's offense with going straight up. And the interesting thing is, he was so good at it that he would jump, which, the classic thing is don't leave your feet on defense, right? He would jump straight up and make it pretty much physically impossible to get the hoop or the ball to the hoop.
And also rebounded a lot of his own blocks.
Absolutely.
Here we go again.
How many possessions can you get in the last 2.5 minutes overtime? We'll see.
I don't know, but this, I mean, if you squint, this doesn't look anything unlike a hockey game looks.
Right.
Where you got guys going in every direction,
Fire the
nobody's
puck.
really sure.
Fire the ball, yep.
And then here comes the ball.
Yeah, it's great.
So the coolest thing about close JV games, and then overtime JV games, is you've got the varsity crowd rolling in.
Right, yeah. I'll never forget at Prescott, Coach Katz as the JV coach. it's I don't know if it was overtime. It might have been overtime because Maddox Mahoney or Axel Mahoney got the last play drawn up to him, and it was a backdoor kind of alley-oop because there was, I think it might have been a second or less on the clock. But the place was rafter to rafter. That was Brookshaw's senior year, and the place was packed. It was awesome, and we almost came up. I think they won. I think we were down 1, but it was awesome. Coach Ketz always kept us cool in those moments and drew up a game winner against Richmond on this floor.
Yeah. Well, did he drop the game winner? Because he used the play that he really liked in the JV game.
Okay.
And I think Axel got a shot and didn't make it. And then we're playing in Richmond. There's about 4 minutes left, and it's close. And I turned. I said, Ty, give me your best play because we're gonna need one at the end. And he spends the next 4 game minutes drawing up a play. We call timeout. We bring the guys around. He's got it. Right before he races it and draws up a new play. And then we won. Great job, Ty.
Yeah, one of the better basketball minds to ever be in this gym, Ty Ketz. Wealth of information, humble. Obviously a really great player for anybody who follows high school basketball around this area. Clayton. We're just about halfway done with overtime. 44-42. Hawks with the only 2 points of overtime. Good look underneath. Mahoney once again underneath.
Yes.
And a real nice look and a real nice finish there by the bearded Maddox Mahoney. And we're going to get a charge call. Jackson Johansson with his 3rd.
And he stands up and he points.
And he points.
You know what? Jackson Johansson.
And he just counted out 1. He goes like this. He goes 1, 2, 3.
So Jackson Johansson next year in the fall is going to be the guy that gets a first down, and he's going to stand up, and he's going to hold the ball, point, and then drop it.
Yeah.
You might have to have Coach Kiefer.
Well, I've already been, outed on this very channel for some of my, obviously telling Mason Werner to flip into the end zone.
It's true.
I'm not going to stop with that advice. Obviously, I don't know if it'll ever follow through, just because Coach Kiefer does kind of nix those ideas. But
kids like having fun.
Yeah.
And when you do something good, you're not showing anybody up. You're just celebrating with your boys. One
of the worst officiating moments I've ever seen. It was unspeakable almost. I'm watching Hudson play Marshfield, I believe, in a playoff game at Hudson. It's overtime.
Okay.
Marshfield had scored the first touchdown and not scored the point after attempt. They're up 6. Hudson, senior, I believe it was a captain, catches a quick slant to tie the game in the end zone. Flips the ball up in celebration, hugs his teammates, and flipped it up. It probably went up like, 10 feet. The official flags that as excessive celebration, backs up the point after attempt, which Hudson misses because it's, 35-ish yard field goal.
Right.
Hudson loses.
That's not ideal.
It's not why the rule was invented.
Right.
Jackson is going to go to the free throw line, fighting up through a handful of arms there.
So there's an NFL player, relatively big name, future Hall of Famer, who's known for scoring touchdowns and immediately jogging the ball over to the official, Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
There's been a number of occasions where Larry Fitzgerald would flip the ball to the officials so quickly when officials would still be signaling touchdown.
Yeah, and they would hit him.
Well, they would take the ball in some not great places and not like it. So he didn't play it all this year, never really retired, but you see him score a touchdown, sprint the ball over, hand it to an official.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald's an icon.
Know where he's from?
Pitt.
Holy Angels, Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was a ball boy with the Vikings. Jackson Johansson getting it done.
Looking to put some nails in the coffin. That one no good, but Maddox Mahoney. The level of effort we've seen in this JV game is second to none. So much fun watching these kids compete. Hawks up 5, 1:19 to go. Ellsworth's going to need a couple buckets on their next possessions to take the lead back. They were in the lead for almost all of this game. Another errant pass. That's going to go out of bounds back to BW.
No, it was tipped.
And we've got a tip call, and I'm wrong, which is not going to be the last time. And that's going to go back to the Panthers. Another good showing tonight in the crowd. Elijah Heimer anticipates.
Oh, keep it there, don't foul. Keep it there, don't foul. Oh. We're under a minute. Back 10 after dark.
Corner three, no good.
Just go. Let's just go.
And they're gonna say
that's intentional. That's intentional. They're gonna talk. Okay, common foul. One thing you can't do is shove and extend. Now, Rich didn't have the greatest view of that because he was the trail guy.
Yeah, fouls come in all shapes and sizes, and that one was a bit physical, but Elijah Heimer looking to hit a free throw. That one no good. Hawks up 5. Full timeout. 30-second timeout over.
Andrew Clapp in the house and confused. Right? Is that Andrew?
Oh yeah, that's Andrew and one and only Nick Russ.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's like, this is where I sit. This is my spot.
Yeah.
I own this spot.
He will be joined at UMD. Andrew Clapp, now becoming a very valuable player at University of Minnesota Duluth football. Will be joined there by Ellsworth Jack Janke. Congratulations to Jack on committing to the Bulldogs. Jack, obviously the quarterback this past season for the Ellsworth team that made it to state, back-to-back undefeated conference champions. At one point, was had the most consecutive wins of any team in the state. And Jack will be playing football there. I'm not sure what position. He could probably play pretty much all of them, but he
was a phenomenal receiver as a junior.
Yeah, there's people that would say that he was the most talented receiver that the Middle Border's seen since Zach Campbell, in the sense of ball skills and getting the ball.
Would those people be forgetting about Joey Kidder, or?
I mean, Joey Kidder. Do you think Joey Kidder surpassed Zach when it came to?
Joey was different, and I think based on what he's done at Bethel, he continues to be different. I think he's more of your like underneath route type guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and being that jinxing doesn't exist, Joey Kidder is a guy that could have his name called someday.
Absolutely.
Which is really cool.
He's got the knock on him is his 40 time wasn't great. Joey Kidder was such a good basketball player.
Yeah.
But yeah, no discredit to Zach or Jack Janke.
Yeah, Joey was so much fun to watch, and shout out to Austin Hansen getting the role of defending him the year that BW won Middle Border Conference football a couple years ago and beating Richmond at their place. And
Kidder had one catch for.
Yeah, Austin Hansen, man, the Red Menace. He made it happen that day defensively. Austin Hansen was the best. So we thank him for his service. He's in the Army now and is a super successful young man. But he was our slot back, and would run a lot of jet. And so Coach Kiefer, he believes in practicing very hard, and repping things out. And so we would mesh jet, and some days it would just be Ty Margolowski and Austin Hansen, and they would just run
40-yard sprints.
40-yard sprints over and over again. And Austin would just go, "Yes, sir. Okay, yes, coach." The best. Austin was awesome. Is awesome.
Ryan gets 1 out of 2, and that's
the ball game. So BW prevails to come back over Ellsworth here in the JV game, 48-42. So congratulations to the Hawks with their first home victory in the JV level. We're going to have varsity action here in 15-20 minutes between the Ellsworth Panthers and the BW Blackhawks. Thanks for joining us for the JV bout, and we'll see you in a little bit.
So we're going to turn this one off and restart a varsity one. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.